Welcome, everyone. I'm here in my office today with Joe and Toni Sandin. They were a part of our Reform Wellness group last year in Lent 2023. The first time we tried it here, something totally new. Joe, what do you think about Reform?
I thought it was a great program. Toni and I are both entrepreneurs and have been for a long time. So like our lives can get really hectic and crazy. We have 4 kids. A lot of times we just don't slow down, I think, and work on all the aspects of our lives. So reflecting back on the program, I think what Reform Wellness did for me was just really, I think, gave me a structure how to understand that life's not just all about only my faith and business. There's a lot of other pieces that come into play to live a healthy lifestyle, like my sleep and other, play and some of those other categories. So I think what was nice, it kind of, sometimes you look at your life and you're like, how do I solve some of these challenges? Things seem so complicated, and where do I even start? And it gave me a good structure to understand, okay, how do I put these in buckets that I can kind of one by one go in and tackle and try to accomplish, not feeling like I have to necessarily solve everything in the matter of 30 days or something like that. So the structure is nice.
It helped you split it up and give you the structure. Like that's what's nice about the 9 pillars. It gives you these 9 categories of reflection that are all a little bit different, and sort of a way to kind of break it down. I think, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right?
Right.
I think that's a little bit about the 9 pillars. Is sometimes, right, all of our life feels like the elephant, and how are we going to conquer this great behemoth? And it's one bite at a time.
Yep.
And these 9 pillars split it up very nicely.
Right.
Was it hard to come every Sunday, or did you end up looking forward to coming, or what was it like? What was it like trying to carve out 14 Sundays?
We'll let Toni answer that here.
I think I was a little overwhelmed, thinking, "Oh my goodness, so many Sundays in a row. How are we going to make it?" And I found myself looking forward to it every Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know when you plan on doing it this year, but when we did it, I think it was like 4:00 on a Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be Sundays at 4 again.
And I thought it was a perfect time. And it was, when we would miss those weeks, it was something that I had a heart, like if it was a topic that I wished I would have been there for, I'd listen to it, I'd do the replay, but it wasn't the same as being in person. I thought the group setting was excellent. I thought the discussion at the end of it was really good, because it allowed you to not really feel like the only one. Everybody kind of added some context as to how that pillar might affect their life or what they're struggling with. And I think that it helped to drive out the thoughts that you would be having, that you thought, well, I wonder how other people are handling this. So I really like that.
No, I think the community aspect is a huge plus. Now, how old are your kids? So because you guys have a busy house, right?
We have a busy house. Our oldest she's 14. She'll be 15 soon. Our youngest just turned 6 yesterday. And then we have an 11-year-old and a 12-year-old in the middle.
So you have 4 between
kids.
high school and 6.
Yes.
And how did you squeeze this in to a busy life of marriage, family, business, entrepreneurial life? Well,
I think one thing, we would talk about it a lot during, so how do we squeeze in just the logistics of coming?
Yeah.
Well, our 14-year-old would watch them while we would leave. And we'd say, we'll be back in an hour. And we were usually back in an hour, 10 minutes. And they all had either sat and watched TV or played a game or something. So I think it was good for their time too, just the 4 of them. Yeah. But I would say the weeks we would miss, we would watch it, and all the kids would sit in the living room with us. We would just broadcast it to our TV, and they heard the discussion. It was good for them to hear it. So it wasn't something that just actually impacted Joe and I. The kids learned stuff along the way too.
So looking back now, it's almost been a year since we did our first Lenten community session last year, 2023. Looking back to 2023, what have been some of your takeaways of going through Reform?
For me,
or just the lasting fruit in your life?
Well, I thought going into it, stress management was going to be the one that I needed to focus on, which was a great pillar for me. So it was good for me, but I left actually probably taking away the aspect of play, which I never would have thought, because it stops me to, it reminds me in my day to day that I need to stop and enjoy this life that God's given us, rather than try to move through it and have everything in ducks in a row, the house clean, work ready, kids ready. Like, it allows me to realize that all of that is all very important stuff, but to not forget to enjoy this life that we've been given. I don't know about you.
Yeah, so I think the two ways that helped me the most, reflecting back, number one, sleep is probably my biggest struggle. So Toni's a early bird, and then she goes to bed on time, and I'm the type that stays up an hour or two too late. So it helped me kind of create some discipline for myself in getting the right amount of sleep so that I can function better during the day. And then number two, I think what I've learned in the whole process, and maybe kind of segueing into how I can envision being in this program year after year to stay on top of, because your life kind of ebbs and flows. You're going to have your good times and your bad times. Like, for example, when I went through reform, I was really good at getting my sleep under control and a lot of other of the pillars of reform. But, now since I've had areas where I've maybe lapsed back into bad habits or had some struggles that kind of creep back up on me. So, it's like a lifelong journey. It's not like you don't go through reform and master everything and then you check it off the list and then life goes on. Like, it's a constant, I think, battle and it's a constant journey of like continually trying to master these things and giving yourself some grace. Like, you have to understand, like, you're going to have your ebbs and flows in life, and at certain times of life, certain pillars will be easier than others, and that's okay. And you just have to understand, like, it's a constant journey as you work on them all the time. So,
is there any? That's great stuff. I love how, and you're right. The goal is we're not going to like be holy and healthy in 12 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. This is giving us a toolbox that we're going to walk with, and oftentimes we got to return to year after year. And now this year, you guys are going to help be co-leaders, right? You're going to help lead some of the sessions. What would you have to say as you're kind of going to help me co-lead some of the sessions? What would you tell a prospective parishioner who's on the fence or thinking about it? What would you tell them about reform?
Well, I would say do it. And then I think I was the first one who signed up when you sent out the link, because for me, I'm always trying to have a healthy lifestyle, and and to be healthy, but it always seemed like a separate task during the week. Like, okay, am I doing these to be healthy? I'm doing this for work. I'm doing this for my faith. I'm doing this for our family. And the one thing that reform does is it brings it all together. And I mean, it's an easy one for me to try to talk somebody into joining, because you have nothing to lose. You have only everything to gain. And that one thing to gain is, I mean, I think those that are listening to this are wondering if they're on the fence, are people who are trying to deepen their faith. And obviously get healthy at the same time. But we're all, trying to better ourselves from our faith perspective. And the thing to recognize is that what reform's going to do is also help you recognize what a healthy lifestyle is, and you have nothing to lose from that perspective. And for me, another lasting thing that I get from reform, I have not by any means perfected any of them either. And when I feel that I'm slipping, I always think back to even just her logo of the monstrance with all of the pillars, and then, but what's in the middle is Christ or your faith, Christ centered. And so when I know I'm going too fast or not, like in my day, forgetting to do what we learned, it brings me right back to my faith. It'll stop me to say a prayer during the day, to do something to bring me back to really the center of reform and the center of our lives. So,
which is Jesus, yeah. Yeah,
and I guess if you're on the fence, I would say just take a leap of faith and do it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the neatest programs, because it's one of, like, when she talks about our body is a temple, and we are given this once, and to take care of it, and by doing so you're focusing on your faith. I just think it's a pretty awesome concept.
No, what I found refreshing about Jackie and Reform Wellness is that Christ is at the center. And that's what makes the difference. I think people try other kind of wellness tips or have a general New Year's resolution to be healthier or pray more. But she integrates it so well, you know? And at the end of the day, it's all about being more available to Jesus, more available to others through the mission of the church. And it's about, you know, living that great call to the fullness of life. Jesus says, I come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. It's a reflection on living the abundant life in Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a point that's what it was for me. Christ is at the center. And I think there's a lot of programs out there that obviously can help people, but I think if you don't have Christ at the center of your program, there's always something missing. Like you can make a lot of improvement in your life, but like something maybe just still isn't there.
Yeah.
And that's the Christ-centered component of the program. So
Yeah, we could tweak just a health thing, but it's not the same unless the motivation is for the Lord.
Right.
And because of his love and his life with us.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Consider joining us on Sundays in Lent and Easter, 14-week program, Reform Wellness, being led by Jackie Mulligan through her sort of online platform, but she's actually going to be visiting us the week after Easter. So she'll actually be here in Fargo.
Which is pretty cool that you were able to get her here. I mean, there's people that do it all over the world that do this Reform Wellness online, but we're the lucky ones that get to see her in person and to get to meet her. And when she came last year, I just thought it.
And Bridget too.
And Dr. Bridget, yep, is coming.
She'll be coming as well. Yeah. I just thought it was a super neat experience to get to meet her in person. And she's just as lovely in person as she is online.
Yeah, and very encouraging and challenging. I mean,
pretty neat lady.
When Jackie and Dr. Bridget were here last April, I think it was a real time of grace for everyone who was a part of that. So consider joining us on Sundays. Sign up on our website and grow in health and faith together, integrated in this great gift of body and soul that we've been given by the Lord, made in his image and likeness. So Joe and Toni, thanks for sharing a little bit today about your own journeys and about your involvement in this year ahead.
Looking forward to it.
Peace, we're out.